I'm Paulie G. Welcome back to the Paulie G Show, coming to you live from high atop Mount Georgia. How are you? I'm so extraordinarily glad to be here with you today. I'm going to apologize if you hear a bunch of wind blowing in the background. It's a very, very windy day here on Mount Georgia with temperatures plummeting to sub-zero levels. So I will definitely be staying indoors for that reason, among other reasons. A quick just sort of update. Life has thrown some changes at me in recent weeks, many of which I neither wanted or knew or were coming. But, you know, I'll just say that, you know, in life, it's not about how many times you get knocked down, it's about how many times you get up, right? So here I am, and glad to be here with you. I am actually recovering from a total right hip replacement. I'm still rocking the hospital scrub garb here, as you can see. It was actually almost to the hour 1 week ago that I had this procedure done. The recovery is going exceptionally well. I'm ahead of schedule in terms of recuperating and physical therapy. But you know, there's still a lot of pain and still a lot of stiffness and things that I'm, you know, working through. But that's all a part of the process of what was a necessary operation, because my hip was very, very painful and I put it off as long as I could. But in the end, I just had to get it fixed, and I'm very, very glad I did. So I guess I will just segue into a little bit of preaching, if you'll indulge me. Please, you know, take care of yourselves and take care of each other, and, you know, go see your doctor on a regular basis and do what I call preventive maintenance, you know. So on my cars and my guitars, I do things to keep them, you know, long lasting and healthy. And I think it's important that we do that for ourselves as well. So please don't avoid your doctors. Go see them. If they tell you to take tests, please take them, whether it's a colonoscopy. I know people dread those kind of things, but they're really not that bad. So whatever it is your doctor tells you to do, I recommend you do it. And also just be grateful for your family and friends. For this in particular, I could have never made it through this process without the help of my family and friends, and I want to thank them tremendously for being there for me, because it's not something you can get through alone. There's a lot of pain and a lot of issues to deal with once you get home. You get home very quickly, but you know, it's just not something you can do by yourself. So anyway, I guess I'll stop there with the preaching, but just please, you know, take care of yourselves. And, you know, the old saying, if I'd known if I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself. Well, you know, as I get older, I'm starting to realize there's a lot of truth to that statement, but there's still time to, you know, get healthy and stay healthy. So I implore you to do that, please. So, all right, enough preaching. Let's talk about why you tuned into this video, presumably, which is to learn about this Sigma GJA-SG200. And there is a follow-up to that, which is RBL, which stands for Royal Blue. So there's a whole bunch of letters involved in the name of this guitar, but essentially what we have here is a blue copy of a Gibson J200, right? So if we rewind a few weeks back, I made a video about an Epiphone J200 that I had bought. I wanted a sunburst J200 to kind of round out my collection of jumbos, but I wanted one that I could take out and play live and didn't necessarily have to be, you know, as reverential as I am with my real J200s, which I would never take out on most, you know, live gig situations. They rarely actually ever leave the house. They go to the studio, but otherwise they're basically case queens. But I wanted one that I could take out and play, and I thought the Epiphone Master Built would have, you know, fit that bill perfectly. Unfortunately, the one I got, and it's a sample of one. I'm not, saying that they're all bad, but the one I had, I was just really disappointed with in the sound quality. It was a beautifully crafted guitar. I had no complaints about any of the build. It just didn't resonate for me. You know, it didn't make the sound that I wanted or expected from a jumbo guitar. So I decided to sell it, and I started to look into other alternatives to buying a Gibson J200 Sunburst. And I started to learn more about Sigma. So let me talk for a minute about the Sigma brand. So Sigma is a brand that's been around since, the name has been around since the 70s. It was actually started by Martin. It was sort of an off-brand, off-label that they had created where they were going to produce, you know, medium-grade quality guitars and sell them to, you know, beginner to intermediate level players and not taint the Martin name, right? You know, they kept the name for a while, and then they sort of sold it to different folks, and it was sort of a hot potato. It bounced around from place to place, kind of like the Indian motorcycle name, if you're familiar at all with them. It's just been, you know, that name has just meant a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But ultimately, Sigma wound up being purchased and is now owned by a company in Germany called AMI. So they own the Sigma brand, sorry about that, and produce guitars accordingly. So I started looking for a Sunburst Sigma J200 or SG200 as they're known. And what I quickly realized was that anyone that I saw that was available for sale on the two places that I typically shop, which are Reverb and eBay, none of them were in the USA. Every single one was either in Germany, which is where this company is headquartered, or they have a lot of dealers in London. So there were some London dealers that have them. I could find 0 of them available in the USA, either in the new or used market. Now, having said that, I know there's going to be a lot of comments. I've already gotten them that AMI and Sigma have a website. They have a USA website, and they sell direct. You can order Sigma guitars direct from the factory, which is in China, by the way. They're designed in Germany, but they're built in China, through this website. However, they do not any longer make this exact model, which is a replica of the J200. They make a jumbo. It no longer has the mustache bridge. It no longer has the crown inlays. It's basically a jumbo guitar. And I really wasn't that interested in it. I wanted one that looked as much like a J200 as possible. And they are out there, but you're going to have them shipped from Europe, and that's going to cost you, you know, in the couple $100 range at least, probably, for shipping. So that really, you know, sort of detracted from me, the desire a little bit. Nevertheless, I kept looking at them, and I kept, you know, watching them on eBay. I put them on my watch list periodically, or on Reverb. And one day when I was searching, crazily enough, I saw a blue, navy dark, this royal, they call it royal blue, Sigma SG200. And I thought, oh my God, what in the world is that? So I read the ad, and it turned out that they built this guitar as a promotional guitar. It was a one-off for a trade show. They did it strictly for advertising purposes, take it to trade shows, and that was it. This model is not available. This color is not available on a production level. So I put it on my watch list on eBay and sort of kept it there. And then some life situations happened. It took my mind off of it, and I hadn't been, monitoring it to see if it had sold or anything like that. And then a couple of weeks ago, the seller, which is a dealer named Sebastian in Germany, sent me an offer, a price reduction offer on the guitar to, sort of motivate me a little bit to possibly buy it. And I saw the response, and I thought, well, gee, it sounds like he's this has been on the market a while. Maybe he's highly motivated to sell. I made a counter offer, which he said he would accept. And then I asked about the shipping, and he said, oh, don't worry, I'll pay for the shipping. Well, sold, right? So, you know how it is with me and blue guitars, open mouth, insert hook, done. One of a kind, J200, blue, everything I was looking for, right? Except the sunburst, which I can always get some other time. So here it is, this one of a kind I'm going to call it a J200 replica of, from Sigma. And I suspect the reason that they're not building these anymore is because Gibson probably came after them for their, intellectual property violations. I know a couple of years back, you might remember that rather gross video that Gibson had made. Poor Mark Agnesi had gone on and made all kinds of threats to manufacturers that, we're coming after you, you copycats. And, I know they regret making that video. And I know Mark, he's a nice guy. I don't think he was, that was his idea. He was probably following orders. He was new to Gibson at the time. The videos go on. They don't even have it up on YouTube anymore. But I probably would think that they went to Sigma and said, hey, you can't use this design the way it is. You're going to have to change it. So they have a jumbo. It has a standard kind of bridge. It has dot inlays or maybe block inlays, but it doesn't look anything like this. So they're not making these anymore, and they're really not making them in royal blue. So this is very much a one-of-a-kind guitar, and the construction is solid Sitka top, laminated, mind you, back and sides. There is a little bit of flaminess, which I don't know if the camera will pick up, but the color is extraordinary. It's a beautiful tone of blue, and most importantly, this thing sounds, I'd say, 1,000% better than that Epiphone J200 that I had. And again, I only had one. If I had 10 Epiphone J200s to try out, there's probably one in that group that I would have, hopefully liked. But in these days, the market doesn't allow that. The stores don't have them. You have to buy things online, and there's a certain amount of risk involved. And, in my day, my mom used to say, try before you buy. But now, in these days, unfortunately, you have to buy in order to try. But I have seen so many videos on these Sigma J200s, and everybody seemed thrilled with them, that I was willing to take the chance. And I'm very glad I did. The sound is excellent. Is it as good as a Gibson J200? No. But it's a small fraction of the price of a Gibson J200. So, like anything else, you can't expect, everything. It has a pickup on it. It has the Fishman Sonotone, Sonocore pickup on it, which is great because now I can take this out. I can play it live. I don't need to fear, it being damaged or anything like that as much as I do a real J200. So I'm just very, very delighted that I bought this guitar, and that I'm really surprised no one else did, with it being a one-off like this, because, you know, these are hard enough to find in the USA under the natural finish or the burst. Forget about blue. You're just not going to find one. I mean, if you did, good luck, because as far as I know, this is the only one they made. So it's a great guitar. It plays great. I haven't even really set it up yet. I just got it a few days ago. It came from Europe. I ordered it the day before my surgery, and I thought, well, that'll give me a couple of weeks at least of time to recuperate while it ships. And it got here in 3 days. So I had to hobble down to the garage and come inside with a bad leg, and you know, I couldn't wait to cut it open and get it out and take it upstairs. So it came unbelievably fast from Europe, which was quite a surprise. But anyway, it's the model again is a GJA-SG200. They do make an all-solid guitar as well, or they used to, which would be an SGJA, which stands for solid. So that would have been solid maple back and sides. This is not that version. This is a laminate, you know, version. And the materials otherwise are not super high-end. The bridge is micarta. The fretboard is micarta. It does have a some kind of a natural nut. It's either a bone or some version, you know, thereof. The tuners are sort of Kluson Deluxe replicas, but they work great. Stays in tune beautifully. So 2 big thumbs up for Sigma J200s, and the Epiphone one, again, sample of one. I had to sell that guitar. I just didn't do it for me, unfortunately. Aesthetically, it was beautiful, but you know, it just didn't play, you know. And I'm loving the way this sounds, and I'm really, really thrilled with it. So I wanted to share this with you, and that is about all I can think of to say about this guitar. Other than the last thing I'll say is, once again, please, I'm so glad to have you all as friends and followers, and I want to thank you all for tuning into the channel, and just want to remind you to be good to each other and be good to yourselves and take care of yourselves and stay healthy. And I've got one more new addition to the collection. I hope I can make a video on that very soon, as soon as the recuperation comes along a little bit better. But thank you again, and I will just leave you with my final thought, which is, when it comes to guitars, you only need one more, especially if it's a blue one. See you next time.